Beneath the busy streets of Edinburgh, beneath cafes, tourists, and centuries of daily life, there exists another city. A city with no sunlight, no windows, no escape. Most people walk above it without ever knowing it exists. But those who have entered rarely forget it. These are the Edinburgh Vaults. They were not built for ghosts. They were built for survival. And that is what makes what happened here far more disturbing. In the late 18th century, Edinburgh was expanding rapidly. The population was growing faster than the city could support. To solve overcrowding, a massive bridge called the South Bridge was constructed in 1788. Beneath it, a series of chambers and rooms were built into the arches. These underground spaces became known as the Edinburgh Vaults. At first, they were meant to be workshops and storage areas for tradesmen. But the conditions were terrible. No proper ventilation, no natural light, constant dampness. Businesses failed quickly, and when they left, something else moved in. The vaults became home to the poorest people in society. Families with nowhere else to go. Criminals hiding from the law. Prostitutes. Smugglers. Disease spread rapidly. Typhoid. Cholera. Tuberculosis. People lived, suffered, and died in complete darkness. Bodies were often removed secretly at night. Some were never removed at all. As Edinburgh modernized, the vaults were sealed and forgotten. Life moved on above ground. Below, everything remained. For nearly 200 years, the Edinburgh Vaults sat untouched, frozen in time. When they were rediscovered in the 1980s, archaeologists expected debris. What they found instead was something else entirely. Personal belongings, children's shoes, broken dishes, marks on walls where furniture once stood. It was as if people had simply vanished. And soon after the rediscovery, the reports began. Visitors described sudden drops in temperature that could not be explained. Others felt intense pressure on their chest. Some experienced nausea, others panic. Many reported the same sensation, that they were not alone. One of the most infamous areas within the vaults is known as the South Bridge Vaults, where visitors consistently describe a heavy, oppressive atmosphere. People report hearing footsteps behind them, only to turn and find nothing. Others hear whispers, not voices calling out clearly, but murmurs, as if conversations are happening just beyond hearing range. One figure is mentioned more than any other, a presence commonly referred to as Mr. Boots. Visitors claim to feel a sharp tug at their legs, as though something brushed against them. Children often point to empty corners and say someone is standing there. Paranormal investigators describe an aggressive energy in certain chambers. Equipment malfunctions. Batteries drain instantly. Cameras fail. Skeptics argue that the mind creates fear in enclosed, dark spaces. But the consistency of the experiences is difficult to ignore. People who have never heard the stories describe the same sensations. Cold spots in specific rooms, feelings of being watched, sudden emotional distress. One woman reportedly broke down crying without knowing why. Another visitor collapsed after feeling something grip their arm. Historical records explain why the vaults carry such emotional weight. Life underground was brutal. There was no sanitation. Human waste flowed through the streets above and seeped down into the vaults. Children died young. Women sold their bodies to survive. Violence was common, and there was no authority below ground. If someone screamed, no one above could hear. Some believe the vaults acted as a pressure cooker of suffering. Pain layered upon pain, fear stacked on fear, until the walls absorbed it. Psychologists acknowledge that places associated with trauma can trigger powerful emotional responses. But that does not explain the physical experiences people report. Scratches, unexplained bruises, sudden sharp pains. Tour guides themselves, many of whom are trained skeptics, admit there are areas they avoid alone. Not because they believe in ghosts, but because something feels wrong. The air feels heavy. Breathing becomes difficult, as if the vaults resist being disturbed. Some researchers suggest that the underground environment traps infrasound, low-frequency vibrations known to cause anxiety and hallucinations. Others say high mold levels could affect the brain. These explanations make sense, until people experience things that do not fit, like objects moving, or feeling a hand on their shoulder, or hearing their name whispered. The Edinburgh Vaults are not polished or theatrical. There are no staged effects, no actors hiding in the dark. The fear here comes from authenticity, from knowing that real people lived and died here in misery, and that their stories ended without justice. Unlike castles or palaces, the vaults were never meant to be seen. They were hidden, ignored, abandoned. That abandonment lasted centuries. When modern visitors walk through the vaults, they are stepping into lives that were erased, lives that had no voice above ground. Some believe those voices never left. Whether the experiences are paranormal or psychological, one truth is undeniable. The Edinburgh Vaults represent humanity at its most desperate, and desperation leaves scars. The city above thrives. Music plays, lights shine, but beneath it all, the vaults remain. Silent, dark, waiting. Perhaps the most unsettling thought is this: nothing new has happened in the vaults for hundreds of years. No recent tragedies, no modern deaths, and yet the fear persists, not because something is happening now, but because something never ended. Some places don't become haunted by spirits. They are haunted by neglect, by suffering ignored, by lives buried beneath progress. The Edinburgh Vaults are not a reminder of death. They are a reminder of how easily the living are forgotten. And once forgotten, they may never truly leave. And perhaps the most disturbing part of the Edinburgh Vaults is not what people claim to see, but what people feel after they leave. Many visitors report that the fear does not stay underground, that long after they return to the surface, something lingers. Some feel sudden sadness with no clear cause. Others experience nightmares, always dark, always enclosed, always silent. A few claim they carried something home with them, not a ghost, not a presence, but a heaviness. Psychologists might call it suggestion. Historians might call it emotional resonance. But those who experience it describe it differently. They say it feels like memory, as if the vaults do not want to be forgotten again. In the past, the people who lived here had no records, no graves, no names preserved in history books. Their suffering happened quietly, beneath a city that continued on without them. And perhaps that is why the stories refuse to fade. Because this was not a place of sudden tragedy. It was a place of slow decay. Day after day, year after year, darkness became normal. Disease became routine. Fear became survival. When a place absorbs that much human despair, it changes. Not in a way that science can easily measure, but in a way people instinctively recognize. You feel it in your chest, in your breath, in the silence between footsteps. The Edinburgh Vaults do not chase visitors. They do not scream. They do not announce themselves. They simply exist. And that quiet existence may be what unsettles people most, because it suggests that suffering does not need an ending to leave a mark. It only needs to be ignored. Today, the vaults are lit. Guided tours walk through them. Stories are told. But no amount of light can erase what happened there. And no explanation, paranormal or rational, fully removes the discomfort. Because deep down, people sense the truth. These walls heard things no one responded to. These rooms witnessed lives that no one protected. And the city above kept building. Perhaps the vaults are not haunted by spirits at all. Perhaps they are haunted by neglect. By the reminder of what happens when people are pushed so far into the margins that even their deaths go unnoticed. The Edinburgh Vaults remain beneath the city, sealed, preserved, unresolved, a place where history did not move on, even when the world above did.